Hey, good to see you again. The factory sent over the parts that were looking good on the rig. They're being fitted as we speak. Have a look at the report.
What's going on, guys? Aarava here. Welcome back to my F1 2016 career mode, episode number 7 today for season 2 at the Canadian Grand Prix. You can see we're kicking things off with another upgrade here, the drag reduction, the 4th drag upgrade we made of the career mode so far. We obviously purchased that upgrade at the Monaco Grand Prix last time out. If you have missed that episode, do go check that out. That was only uploaded yesterday, so do go check that out because quite a lot of you might miss that. If you know you haven't kind of missed that one in your sub box, you might have missed that. So check that out. Obviously, guys, I told you if we could try and get 2,000 likes on that episode, I would upload this the very next day, and you guys smashed it. The time recording this, I believe it's about 3,900 or 4,000 likes, which is insane. So thank you so much for that, and it really showed me how much you guys still are really supporting this career mode, and that's just fantastic to see. It will really make a difference. So just keep pushing me on to try and keep on uploading these as much as I can during my university studies. But we move on to practice here at the Canadian Grand Prix, kind of going through that chicane with some style, touching the grass, bit of a drift, a bit of a gymkhana there, and in the practice, obviously doing all the practice programs. Canada, as I mentioned, one of my favourite, or probably my favourite circuit on the calendar. So we got 50 out of 50 for everything, job done there in practice, got a whole lot of points, and then we move on to qualifying swiftly, and you can see we're on the intermediates there. It's going to start raining here at this beginning of the session, but crucially, if I looked on the monitor, it said it was going to dry up later on. So I can see a few cars going out now onto a set of inters on their flying lap. But I actually get out the tablet and I do my setup and everything, and then I fast forward the tablet, because I fast forward the session, I should say, because I saw on the forecast it was going to get drier. So what's the point of going out, I felt? What's the point of really just setting an intermediate lap time if I'm just going to beat it on a set of dry? So I just did my setup, sat out the garage, and just kind of fast forwarded it, and so we could kind of go out on the wet period at the moment. I believe my teammate went out. I mean, there's no real point anyway, but there you go, they all went out. But you can see there on the very right one, you can see it's only cloudy there, so that means it's going to dry up. So 2 clouds there on the right hand side, now 3 clouds as we fast forward even more. You can see we've gone down the order, but that's fine. We're going to set a dry time now, so we're going to put on a set of, well, I was going to put on a set of ultra softs, but my thinking is, maybe we go for super softs. Maybe we go for super softs and we try the alternate strategy, because obviously it's going to be a bit slippery, so maybe we can't gain as much on the ultra softs as we could, normally in the dry. So I went on to the super softs and thought for the first time this season, we'll try the alternate strategy. Also, this is probably the first time in the season, maybe I could have done it at Monaco potentially, but the first time really in the season where I was so confident in my speed at this circuit that I thought we could definitely get it into at least the kind of top 10 at least on the inferior second fastest tyre, on the super soft tyre. So we come through, going to cut later on into our lap. Checkered flag has fallen, so this is going to be our one and only lap time at the moment. Rosberg's on pole position through the final chicane, chuck it through, open the DRS. We're going to keep it on the right hand side, the tightest and shortest run to the line. Come across the line. What's it going to be? It's going to be, that takes a while to come out. It's going to be P5 for the Canadian Grand Prix. So not too bad. P5, Rosberg there, 2 Williams, Bottas and Massa in second and third. The likes of the 2 Ferraris, my teammate, all caught out. Look at that. So many people didn't even set a lap time on dries. They just kept their lap time on intermediate. So the 2 Ferraris being caught out. My teammate's been caught out, so they're way down the order. And we're up into 5th place. And 2 Williams looking very, very tasty on ultra softs there in second and third. But a great job for us. Carlos Sainz right behind us, so he's done well. Surprising to see the Toro Rosso that far up. But we've set ourselves up there. Super softs, 5th place. We're looking good. So I'm looking forward to this one, the Canadian Grand Prix. Let's go to the grid. So taking a look at the race strategy ahead of the formation lap, and more importantly, the session forecast, you can see it's going to start raining roughly around our pit stop phase. Now, I knew this ahead of qualifying, but I thought that the rain might come a little bit later. It looks like it's going to be a little bit earlier than I thought, so actually the kind of strategy of us starting on the super softs might not actually help us out too much, and we may as well have maybe qualified on the ultra softs and maybe even got onto pole position, but you can say everything in hindsight, so we're just going to have to do what we can do today from 5th place. But it's going to be definitely a very interesting Grand Prix, because also you saw on the forecast indicator it was then going to get drier and cloudier towards the end of the race. So we might have quite a few pit stops in this race, going from dry to wet, back to dry, potentially. We'll have to see how the circuit kind of goes through. But as we come on to the end of the formation lap, it's already getting a little bit more overcast than it was at the beginning of that lap. So for sure, it's going to be a very interesting Grand Prix ahead of us today. We go to 5 red lights for the Canadian Grand Prix. Drop the clutch and we're underway. Ricciardo's got a slow start. Massa's got a great one as Bottas also bogs down on the dirty side of the grid there. Bottas and Ricciardo. We're going to turn 1 side by side with the Australian right at the moment. It's Rosberg leading from Massa, Bottas, then Ricciardo slotting ahead of us. We've got the Toro Rosso of Sainz side by side with us, so we've lost out massively through turn 2. We'll go side by side with the Spaniard through the chicane. We'll just about hang it through around the outside. It turns into the inside of the second part of the chicane, and we're ahead of Sainz, and we keep that 5th place. So we've kept our grid position there and fended off the Toro Rosso. Now we're on the back of Bottas, who's been already overtaken by Daniel Ricciardo. Nice little move Ricciardo made into the hairpin, I think that was, and he's already up into the podium positions. And now look at this, getting some great slipstream. The slipstream is going to really work well. Remember, we upgraded the drag as well, so that's going to come into effect. We've got 4 drag upgrades now on this car, so that's really going to help us in the slipstream of all these cars. And now we're going to try and see if we can get on the back of Daniel Ricciardo potentially as we cross the line into onto the second lap. So a very hectic first lap. Massa sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix, and he's actually overtaken Rosberg. I didn't see that. So Massa leads the way, and Rosberg now is hugely under pressure from Ricciardo. They go side by side through the second high-speed chicane there, or the third chicane I should say of the lap, and they go side by side down to the hairpin. Is Ricciardo going to make this move in front of all the fans in the stadium section? He makes the move. He's up into second place. Rosberg struggling for grip and pace here, it looks like, and he's down to 3rd, and now we're going to be on the back of him in the slipstream. And meanwhile, Massa is waltzing off into the distance. Felipe Massa leading the Canadian Grand Prix with quite a sizable margin now to Daniel Ricciardo, and we've got Nico Rosberg up into 3rd place through the final chicane, and now we can try and chase after the Australian in the Red Bull. It looks like Rosberg really struggling. Remember, Hamilton was already down the order, so it looks like this is not Mercedes' race potentially. It looks like the Williams is potentially the fastest car around this circuit in the race. We go side by side with Ricciardo through turn 2, still side by side, a little bit of oversteer. Ricciardo still sticks it round the outside. We still go side by side into this first chicane. Ricciardo just managed to come through. We have to kind of fend off, kind of, recompose ourselves and maybe come for an attack later on into the Grand Prix. That's exactly what we do, because we come on to the very next lap. We're still behind Ricciardo. Looks like he's got a little bit deep in that chicane. He's going slowly on the apex of the next corner. He's got an issue, I think. Ricciardo going very slowly on the ultra soft tires. We go round the outside. Overcast conditions already, so maybe the rain is coming down sooner than we all thought. But we go side by side with Ricciardo. I'm going to overtake him very easily, and the Toro Rosso of Carlos Sainz is also going to overtake him. Ricciardo definitely has an issue there. He's dropped 3 places there in the span of a corner and a straight, and now it's myself in second, Sainz in third. We got a lot of oversteer, so it might be Sainz in second soon, as Sainz now slipstreams us down to the hairpin corner. I'm under pressure. I lock up a little bit, go deep, and Sainz has got us. The Toro Rosso is going to be battling for second place here at the Canadian Grand Prix as he gets us round the outside, and we have to tuck in here, try and get slipstream from him, not to be overtaken by Rosberg. But absolute madness at the moment in the Canadian Grand Prix. We've only had 5 laps and so much action here today, trying to maybe make a move on Sainz into the chicane. Think better of it, have to stick behind him. He's got a double bite of DRS, so we have to move on to lap 6, the very next lap, to try and overtake him. Now we're the ones chasing with DRS into the chicane. He's sparking away. We get a good run through that corner, and we get a really nice run, open DRS. Where we're going to go? Sainz going to give us the room on the left. We tried to, he squeezed us a little bit, but we're going to try the move down the inside, hit the apex, go side by side with Carlos Sainz, but we'll get it round the outside, go a little bit wide to give him the room, but we're up into second place, a little bit oversteer for good measure, but we are up into second place. So now it's time to chase after Felipe Massa. But on to lap 8, it's already time for our first pit stop. You can see on the bottom right, we're going to come in for a set of intermediate tyres. Yes, it is time for the intermediate tyres. It may not look like it, but my engineer was already debating with me on the radio. We're not too sure about which one's going to be the correct decision, so I took it into my own hands and decided to pit this lap for a set of intermediates. So hopefully we might gain a little bit on some cars around us. We make a nice stop there onto the green wall tyres, and we'll see immediately as we come out of the pits what the grip level is going to be. You can see a whole gaggle of cars there on the right-hand side of your screen coming through turn 1 now. Obviously, we cut off that turn on the pit exit where we come out, already some spray off the tyres, and immediately through that exit off turn 2, you can see the traction that Grosjean, or lack of traction, that Grosjean has there. So immediately, I definitely think this is the right decision, and we're on the correct tyre. On to lap 9. At the end of that lap, we're closing on to Rio Haryanto, who's still on dry tyres. So on ultra softs there, you can see on the top left, and also clearly on his car at the moment. We go a bit deep in the chicane as I actually concentrated a bit too much on Rio Haryanto and missed my brake point for the actual intermediate period, because obviously you brake a little bit earlier on the intermediates because not enough grip there. But we come out, it's still in second place. I think we've gained a little bit on Massa. I think visually I can see him there coming through on the exit of turn 2 as he exited the pit. So I think we've gained a little bit on him, not too much, but enough that it was kind of useful for us to make that one extra kind of lap on the intermediates. But now we try and chase him down. We've moved on to lap 15. 5 laps later, it's taken us to catch up to Massa. But now this is a bit more of a calmer period in the Grand Prix. I can calm down on the commentary a little bit. That was a lot of action in the first 6 laps. Absolutely awesome to witness. But now we can calm things down a little bit where we slowly caught up to Massa. You can see we did catch up a bit to him on lap 15, but it took us till the very next lap, lap 16, to actually fully catch up to him. Obviously no DRS because it's intermediate conditions now, so on pure slipstream and traction we have to try and overtake him through the final chicane. We get a good run on the Brazilian. Can we try and make a move for what will be first place in the Canadian Grand Prix? We have a look around, maybe try something down the inside, think better of it at the last minute and just slam on the brakes and stick behind Massa. Maybe we can out traction him here. We're going to see. We got a little bit of opposite lock here, bit sideward, but we go side by side with the Brazilian into the first chicane. Can we try and make this move down the inside, side by side with Massa? Massa pushes us, taps us there, pushes us into the wall, and Massa has kept first place, but he's very aggressive there. That was very aggressive. I did not expect an AI car to be that kind of elbows out, kind of, you know, pushing me off the circuit a little bit into the wall almost. So that was I was kind of put off by that. So we go on to the very next lap now, and we'll try and we'll try and redo that move basically and try and overtake him this time onto lap 18. Actually, 2 laps later, I should say, as we move on to lap 19, and we'll try it maybe down the inside this time, a lot closer, but we just stick our nose through. Massa goes a little bit deep to give us the room, but we're going to try this switchback move now. A little bit of a tighter line, and you can see going completely opposite lock, but we've made that move. What a move that was, I must say. We were completely opposite lock, turning left on a right-hander corner, and we got the traction down and made that move. That is absolutely awesome stuff. And we're into first place of this Canadian Grand Prix. We move on to lap 20 now. Rapidly moving through these laps now in the Grand Prix. As we're in the wet conditions, obviously not much is happening here. We're just trying to survive in first place. You can see Rosberg has overtaken Massa. He's going to slipstream Massa, and this is very awkward because there's actually time to come in onto the full wet tyre. So what's going to happen here? Is Rosberg going to come in as well? We have to brake early. Rosberg brakes early as well, but he gains a bit there, and we lose time to Rosberg, and we're down to second place. So that's really unfortunate that the AI, obviously they're AI, so they perfectly brake for the pit lane entry, whereas I'm human, I can't brake that perfectly for the pit entry, so we lose time to Rosberg, and we also lose time to Felipe Massa. We get held up here, and we're going to be behind the Brazilians. We come out of the pit, so we've not only lost 1, we've lost 2 places there in that pit stop phase. Really annoying there. So we're going to be in a net 3rd place. At the moment it's 4th, but there's 1 person yet to make their pit stop at the moment. But we're onto the full wet tyres, like we mentioned at the beginning of the Grand Prix on the formation lap there. Was going to get to heavy rain, I thought it was, with the kind of 3 water droplet graphics on the session forecast. But immediately I want to try and get back past Massa because I really felt like we shouldn't have lost that place. So we sent it down the inside. Massa went really wide anyway, sort of like Sebastian Vettel in 2011, went really deep into that chicane. So I just kind of took it very easily there. Very easy move. He made it, just open the door for me. So we're up into second place now. A few laps later now, lap 24, and we're closing up on Nico Rosberg now, trying to take back our rightful first place that I feel we deserve in this Grand Prix. Rosberg just managed to get us there into the pit stop bases, so now getting very close to him in this chicane, but I couldn't make the move there, so I kind of hand back, try and close up as much as I can, getting good traction off that corner. Where is he going to place his car? I'm going to go to the outside, it looks like. Rosberg's going to take the inside line, but he does well under braking, and we stick behind him into turn 1. And turn 2, we're just going to have to try and get a good exit here, trying to get the best line I can. But you can see a bit of oversteer there. As I mentioned a few times in this season so far, I feel a lot better on the intermediates than I do on the full wet. So actually quite surprised at my pace compared to the Mercedes car here. So I guess maybe confirming to us that, maybe indeed our McLaren is maybe the fastest car at the moment on circuit. Although the Williams has looked very, very tasty at this Canadian Grand Prix so far. I didn't expect Massa and Bottas to be so far up the grid, especially Massa, not performing so well these days, and he's fighting up here for what could be a race win for him. We'll have to see how it goes. But a safety car has been deployed. I was so surprised I nearly hit the back of Rosberg there when off circuit. I was such in shock that the safety car got called. So that's going to be very interesting indeed to see what actually goes on here, because it's an interesting phase in the Grand Prix. We've got 10 laps left of the race. So do we try and maybe make a free pit stop? It's going to be interesting to see what our engineer thinks. But at the moment, race has been neutralized. We can kind of hang back, maybe save some fuel. And we've got quite a few cars out. It's only 18 runners now left in this Canadian Grand Prix. We move on to lap 26. This is, and it looks like Rosberg's going to come to the pits. I'm going to come to the pits, and we're actually going to go on to the intermediate tyres. So in between cutting to this lap, my engineer was telling me that it's maybe time for that crossover period. So I just followed what Rosberg was going to do, basically. So I knew it was going to be intermediate tyres, but it's just going to be when. And so I followed what Rosberg did, came into the pits now, onto the set of green wall tyres. There goes Rosberg. Is Massa going to get ahead of us? No, he's not, thankfully. So we will come out in what will be a net second place onto the inters period. And so now we'll have about 8 laps left by the end of this lap till the end of the Grand Prix. So I think we'll probably be going to the end on this set of tyres. But here is where some very interesting stuff happens, and where I have to take a bit of a break from trying to commentate this as if I've not known what's going on. Watch on the right hand side, guys. Just watch that timer and watch that timer go down. I think by now you can probably guess what's about to happen by the tone of my voice and me telling you to look over on that right hand side, because I'm behind Rosberg. I can't overtake him. I have to stay behind him, but we have to catch the safety car, and Rosberg, being the absolute prat he is not doing that. And as we come through on this straight, we get a drive-through penalty for not catching the safety car, which was not my fault. It's the race leader's fault. Nico Rosberg not catching the freaking safety car. GG Rosberg. Well freaking done. Absolutely brilliant, mate. Absolutely brilliant. Rosberg doesn't catch the safety car. I get to drive through. Absolute bullshit. Excuse my language, but absolute bullshit. Absolute bullshit. I contacted Codemasters. I told one of their devs on Twitter. He saw me tweet. At the time, I complained about the glitch, so he saw my tweet. I tweeted him, DM'd him about the issue, so hopefully they look into it to fixing that, but I was very, very pissed off. And so by the end of the lap, I overtook Rosberg. Now, I'll pause it here. So, you need to cut me some slack. At this point, I was very angry. I was in the moment, and in the moment when, adrenaline's rushing, you get very angry at having this glitch in a drive-through. I didn't think logically. In hindsight, you can say everything, but at the time of recording this race, at the time of racing, I completely did not factor in that I couldn't take a penalty under a safety car. Now that I think back of it, now that I think back on this race, I was so stupid. I shouldn't have. Why did I think I could take a penalty under a safety car? When has that ever been a thing in F1? That you could, basically effectively kind of lower the impact of your penalty by doing it under the safety car. I don't know why I thought that, but at the time, I wasn't thinking. I was very, very angry, and the anger was ensuing me. So I just came into the pits, and I got another pit stop. So I made my race from bad to even worse. We're now 4th place, and we've still got to do this drive-through penalty, which is still bullshit, by the way, but we've still got to do it. So at the end of the safety car period, safety car's coming in. You can see I'm side by side with Hamilton. Still so frustrated. I want to try and overtake Hamilton as fast as I can. We have to let him go, though. And in my anger, I completely forget to drive, and I'm in 7th gear off the exit of that chicane. Well done, Arav. Really great job there. So Button is now behind us in 5th place. We're going 4-5 now as McLaren's. You can see Rosberg leads the way from Massa, then Hamilton, but absolute calamities in this Grand Prix. It's just gone from what was looking like a really nice first place potentially to now, well, I just don't know. If we're 4th place, you can see a lot of cars behind us. If we have a drive-through, we're going to be down like 6th or 7th at the moment. Absolute, I was just so pissed off at this point. And there you go, reminder, serve the drive-through. Yeah, we get it, game, serve the drive-through. But, to my dismay, to my surprise, Rosberg, Massa, Hamilton all come in for a drive-through. Jenson Button goes through past us. He doesn't have a drive-through. He's going to lead this Canadian Grand Prix with only a few laps to go. Look at this. Look at the scenes. 4 cars, 2 Mercedes and Williams and myself and the McLaren come through with drive-through. I think Rosberg must have got the same penalty. Maybe Hamilton as well. Potentially Massa, or they might have sped under the safety car. I'm not too sure, but all of us had to do that same drive-through. So hallelujah, my bacon has been saved, because now we have got it all to do. We've got 5 laps left in this Grand Prix. Could we potentially come back and win this race? I'm sure Button has got a bit of a lead on us, but he's in the same car, and I feel like I'm faster than him. So it is time to get the metal down, get our foot down, as Lewis Hamilton's engineer would say. Get the hammer time down. It's hammer time. Try and overtake all these cars as fast as we can. We've got 4 laps left to overtake these 3 cars, and then maybe get onto Jenson Button in the McLaren, who's leading the way at the moment. But we're right behind Hamilton, right up his gearbox on intermediate conditions, my favourite conditions in terms of compared to the full wet, and I have no nonsense here. Go down the inside. Hamilton's going a little bit slow. I see that. Hit the apex. He runs wide. I take that place very easily, taking no prisoners here. A little bit of oversteer for good measure, but up into 4th place. And so with that, now we can move swiftly on to trying to overtake Felipe Massa for 3rd place here, right up his gearbox on lap 32. We completely out-traction him out that zone, off turn 2, go down the inside, late brake, hit the apex, lovely, kissing the curb, and we're up into 3rd, just kind of drifting across on the apex there, on the exit of that chicane, and we're up into 3rd place. And now we'll get on to one Nico Rosberg, and this, I'm not taking any kind of crap from Rosberg here. I need to take this place. He completely costs me what could have been probably a race win here with his little kind of not catching the safety car. He tries to come back at me. I go down the inside very aggressively over the curb, and I'm just not taking it. I'm just not going to give him the room there. He's just completely wrecked my race. So we come up in 2nd place. We've, crisis averted. We've got up to 2nd, and now we can potentially try and catch Jenson, who I think that might be in the distance there. It's not actually. It's actually turning out to be Sergio Perez, who's being lapped here in the Force India. So Force India, obviously, you've seen many times, guys. A few of you picked up about that. Force India, I believe, are like the worst car in this career mode at the moment. They're just not spending any money on development there. So that was Perez being lapped, and so I have to actually come to terms with the fact that I can't catch Button. So Jenson Button here in the distance on the final lap of the Grand Prix is coming down the back straight. He's in 1st place. I'm in 2nd place. So no matter how much I was angry about the whole glitch and the Rosberg not catching the safety car, I've got to be very, very happy, because this has turned out to be one of the best, craziest races ever I've experienced on the F1 games. Jenson Button comes through to win the Canadian Grand Prix. We're going to come home to make it a brilliant 1-2 for McLaren Honda. What absolute scenes here today. What scenes. I'm actually just so happy about that. I am so happy to see Jenson Button here on 1st place, cheering away. The team are ecstatic. They're going to really earn their champagne back at Woking today, because, my word, a 1-2 for McLaren Honda. We've finally done it. We've finally done the 1-2. We got close in Malaysia last season with the 1-3, but there you go. Jenson smiling away on the top step of the podium. Go on, mate. The Canadian Grand Prix is his. We come home in 2nd. I'm so happy about that, because I'm chuffed. We've got a 1-2 for McLaren after all that happened to us in that race there. So many pit stops we didn't have to make there, and we've come through for a 1-2. That is great. That is great. Clink the champagne bottle with Jenson. Slap Rosberg for good measure. I can't be arsed with Rosberg. Get out of my face there in the podium. Rosberg, what a prat, honestly. Jesus. But 1-2 for McLaren. Absolute scenes, guys. Just for that, guys, smash that like button. It'd be absolutely crazy if we could try and match the likes we got in the last episode. You guys went ham. I believe at the time of recording this, we're very close to 4,000 likes on the Monaco Grand Prix. That's insane. If we could try and match that for our very first 1-2 in the McLaren Honda, that would be absolutely amazing, guys. But I really hope you've enjoyed that episode. That was a thoroughly crazy race, and such an enjoyable one. Although I will admit, at the time of recording, I was very angry at the time when we got the glitch. But, it quickly flipped to absolute ecstasy of knowing that we were going to make it a 1-2, which is it's just awesome. And that's what we've been aiming for. And yeah, I would have maybe wanted it to be me up there on the top step, 1-2 for me in 1st place and Jenson 2nd. But honestly, I have huge respect. Obviously, I have huge respect for Jensen. In real life, he's my favourite driver, and in the game, I'm carrying that forward. I've raced him fairly. I've never really been harsh on his AI car, and I'm happy to see him there in the top step. And that's going to be a whole lot of points. That's going to help us for the constructors. A few of you have been commenting below saying Jensen needed to kind of pull his weight if we wanted to try and overtake Mercedes in the constructors. And well, he responded, guys. Maybe he saw your comments, because a 1-2 is going to really help us there. So we're still in second place, because Rosberg had quite a healthy lead there, but we're really now close to first place in the Drivers' Championship to Rosberg there. Only a few points, so getting very, very close there to maybe leading the Drivers' Championship. Maybe we could do it next race. I'm not too sure. I think the next race is Baku. Not always been the best race for me. In Season 1, it was terrible, so we'll have to see how that goes, knock on wood. But good race nonetheless for both championships. Constructors, we gain on Mercedes there as a whole. Red Bull still third, Ferrari still dwindling in fourth, and Toro Rosso now climb up to fifth place to overtake Haas. So very, very good race for Toro Rosso there. But all round, an absolute perfect Grand Prix for McLaren Honda. 1-2 in the race. Maximum amount of points we could have got there. I don't think you could have a more perfect Grand Prix. If we got pole, that might have been perfect, but I'm not complaining there. Absolutely awesome, and such a great episode, guys, and that's what I meant. That I know Monaco was a bit shorter. I hope this thoroughly made up for it, guys, because this was a crazy one. Absolutely crazy. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Again, if you did, hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. And you're around here, then do subscribe for weekly Formula 1 content. I've been aarava. I'll see you guys next time. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time.